Welcome, welcome. My name is Yana the Heretic, and this is my channel, The Unpopular Opinion Becoming Popular. And this week, we're doing a gate that hits close to home for me, another one that hits close to home for me. This is going to be with us February 23rd, approximately 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, to March 1st. So we're getting progressively more energetic and getting light poured onto us, just the few slivers of light poured onto us, and the chance of spring and the ability to breathe again outside of like this hermit time. And it is the gate of friendship and acceptance, and we are under a new Godhead Mitra. I'm hoping that is the right way to pronounce it, but it is a Hindu god, another Hindu god. This one isn't very well known to most, but Mitra is the god of alliances and treaties, oaths, kinship, or cosmic order. Also political stability. So this is such a multi-layered gate. It really hits home because I actually carry this in my earth earth personality, and this is very conscious for me always. And if you want to know what that means, hit me up, let me know if you're interested. But to sum it up, it is something that I carry with me all the time. It's something that I'm conscious of, and something that actually reflects in each one of my relationships. It is the bonds made for needs fulfilled. So the questions of the week, really the essence of it is, where can I get what I need? And who needs me to provide for them? So it's very much about being needed as well as getting your needs fulfilled, and that's what forms this very communal channel. It is one of the most communal channels or gates that we have, and the channel that's formed when you hit gate 40 is the channel of community. So we will see the full channel this week, and it is really interesting to see the difference between just having gate 37 and having 3740. Now, I have the full channel, so 40 is my sun, 37 is my earth, and therefore I really, really am a leader in this because it is the tribal leader of community. So it is the ability to displace energy and support throughout an entire community or a family, in every single relationship. Really, it's kind of like the scale of, are you willing to understand and support, this standard, or are you aware of understanding what my needs are, and do you feel like I understand your needs as well, and does that fit into the bond or arrangement that we have? So of course I've been in many situations where I feel like the energy is completely imbalanced and I'm carrying most of the household, or I'm carrying most of the work ethic, and it definitely has crashed and burned. Like, the situations I find myself in are complete bitterness and complete resentment most of the time, and that is just because the community that I seek I haven't fully found yet. there are people that I know are in the world that I absolutely would love to share a communal space with, but they're a couple states down, to be honest. So, maybe I have to rethink some shit, But basically, what ends up happening is that I'm not heard or I'm not understood. And every time I try to make a bargain, it is very difficult. And people don't generally understand why, that's important to me. And the more I explain, the more it seems like it's falling upon deaf ears or it's warped in some way, where people think that I am an elitist or something like that. So that tends to happen a lot. And it's just like, well, I want everyone to pitch in, I want everyone to like help each other. And therefore we know exactly what the other person needs in depth. It fulfills this ability to know the people you're with instead of it being surface level relationships with people. And the gate 40 being my son, the gate of aloneness and deliverance, is actually super important to have. And like I said, we will be filtering this whole channel of community. And the gate of aloneness is really important here because if you cannot be alone at any moment in your life, if you haven't, for example, been celibate or taken a vipassana, or just in general, just spent a lot of time on your own, going on hikes, like really letting your mind simmer, really letting yourself read and study and become something, you really don't know what to uphold for yourself. You really don't know what standards you're living by. So it is extremely important to not be a people pleaser. It's extremely important to understand, oh, well, I actually don't like that, anymore, or I don't actually want that in my life anymore. And that comes from this emotional maturity, just being with yourself and being okay with that instead of seeking pleasure outside always. Because you notice that, well, actually these people, like there's many of them, but they don't really care that deeply about me. They don't care if I live or die or if I'm sick. They're not going to hold my hand. They're not going to, really understand like me as a person in full. We do a lot of fun things together, but yet again, it is quality over quantity, and that's what we're going to be seeing. Gate 37 on its own, it is the distributor, and gate 40 is the breadwinner. So it is the ability to make the money and to be able to distribute it evenly across the community or project, if you will. So we all really want somebody to be there for us. We want that ride or die relationship with people. We want to like be given the right present, the gift that speaks volumes, because like my soul literally is being seen. And you want that person that's, there for you when you're sad and you have a shit ton of questions about life and it's like so challenging. And you just want somebody to be like, no, you're good. Like all of us have those questions. I've been exactly where you've been, or not. And just being there and like still understanding somebody, and not judging them for that. That's really what this gate's about, is, being able to devise those humans that are there. And what typically I find is difficult is, since it is a bargain, since it is an emotion emotional gate. 37 is in the solar plexus, and it's reaching towards the ego, willpower, and it is constant ebb and flow. So, sometimes people may come to you and you get a little put off and unsure about their energy, or unsure about what they're providing, and you want to always be in the essence of clarity. So you tend to shift the bargain very often, meaning like, well, okay, like, I appreciate this, but like, let's talk about like how you're going to provide this next time, or you just want to be sure that you're clear with another person, that everything is good and everything is legitimate in the foundations. Nobody's holding any resentment. And since it's an emotional gate and a projected channel, it's very difficult to, some people who are like, we're good, what the fuck's your problem, like, or are you always checking in on the situation? And I always find that being difficult as well. And it's like, just have patience for those people that want to make sure the bonds are clear with you, because it resurfaces a conversation and it adds more detail in the long run, and it adds way more foundational layers for you and your loyalty. That's generally why. Having the 4037, the channel of community, it's the ease to really not have to try anymore. 37s will try. They'll be like, I'm a nurturer, like, I got you, like, what do you need, and on its own, they'll try and try again to work with people, and then they hit bitterness and they're like, no, thank you, like, I don't want to be a part of this shit no more. You don't fucking get me. And then having the 4037, to me, the difference is really like, well, I don't actually need to go searching, I know for a fact that if I just express myself, if I just put myself out there and be a voice, then the right people will come to me, and therefore it will be fulfilling, because you want people to be like, yeah, like, I get you. How can we figure this out together? How can we combine the mental and emotional awareness to really achieve greater heights and achieve equality? How can we assess all of the delegations and make sure the energy is being put into all these channels at full force from everybody? How can we make sure that everyone is fed an equal amount so that, nobody's starving? It gets very overwhelming, because you think about the homeless, you think about, people that are not doing well, and you're like, I'm like, can't do it in quite enough, I can't give my all, as much as I would love to, being this nurturing natural self. But it's something that we think about all the time, like, well, this person's alone by themselves, what happened here? Like, how can I be of service and make this person feel needed and like they're not alone? So generally, we're going to be initiating our minds, but also understanding emotional awareness in order to initiate perspective, or how a community will grow from these roots and these bonds. And yeah, sharing ideas is going to come through, sharing solutions, being able to make things equal will happen this week. You may be seen by a certain community. You may make some exchanges within any community this week. And I just, if you don't have a community and you're not working on that, then, definitely let yourself be seen and express, because you never know what opportunities may come in for you to find this purpose that you have. Because this really what it gives you. Community gives you this schedule and this purpose to show up for a much deeper reason. And it's also on the cross of planning. So like I said, multi-layered. I love this part of me. There's always a fear. There's a deep melancholy fear, just like Gate 49 that we had, I would say like 6 weeks ago or so. But it's deeply melancholic because the need transference is fear. So it's the fear of not being able to survive on your own. And if you don't get your needs met, it's all similarly balanced. You want to have regular sex, you want to have food, you want to have comfort, you want to have loyalty, you want to have people that you love around you. So that is all displaced equally. And it creates this family. And the gate, or the cross of planning, is really speaking here, and it's about planning the future. It's like, okay, what community is going to fulfill these needs for me so that I can live the most authentic life possible? And that could be a marriage, that can be a agreement, that can be a business plan, whatever may happen. It's all for the future and the future of where this foundation will go. And Mitra is going to be expanding and polishing these ties. It is really honestly coming at it's the sun that shines upon the dark days, which I find is perfect for the seasonal shift that's coming. So it's just nudging us towards the spring and the ability to see light finally, and to be able to understand, what are these seeds that I have accumulated within from the quarter of transformation or mutation. And now, how are we going to make sure that these seeds actually grow and that they're strong? So that's what is coming. This is what we have for us now. There's one other thing I want to talk about before we get into the questions of the week, and that is where the conditioning really extremely lies for this gate, and that is the resentment aspect. So most of us got our immense conditioning from our family, and when you don't get the affection and the attention and the equality in your family, perhaps you had many siblings, perhaps you were the only child, or a latchkey kid, and you just don't feel like, you were really given that much and you brought your all. It really sets a shield upon your aura, and you have trouble trusting people, and you have trouble feeling purpose, because you're like, well, I'm not worthy of receiving, my needs. I'm not worthy of my needs being met. So being able to realize, all of these layers of human design and how your family affects you is really what's helped me shed a lot of bitterness and resentment and understand how to actually use this language to untie and unravel the knots within your heart, and really understand how to be the leader, because you understand what's wrong with the community. You understand what's not equal. And although it is extremely painful to, go through all of this and to look at it, face it, it is, the work, to be honest, because forgiveness can look, like many different things, but to be able to just be like, you know what, like, I just wish you the best, and I wish you the best in your own community, and just leave it there. But, you also have to understand, that just because you're not getting, like, material needs met, that doesn't mean that, you have to compare yourself to other families and other communities. We come from like different hierarchical places in life. Some of us are very poor and our family can't provide the things that we really want all the time. And, you hear that casual kid in the back screaming, in any toy store, just like, why can't I have all these things? Like, being able to realize, what it is that's most important to you. Like, is it emotional needs? Is it material needs? Being able to, like, delegate within yourself, like, oh, actually, like, I was just being a brat, and it much more hurts when it's not emotional needs being met, and affection specifically. So kind of waver in that, stew in that, think about your communities and your bonds within your family. If it wasn't all perfect, I fucking get it. So, I'm here. So, but yeah. Don't disrespect anyone. Just put it down. But the questions of the week. Do you typically ask, why are you bringing this up again? I thought we talked about this last week. Or do you enjoy transparent clarity and the chance to be sure? And I wrote, be patient with us emotionals, because, we always are going through highs and lows, and it's difficult to know for sure, like, where people stand through that lens. Is it important for you to feel needed, or do you usually feel pretty good alone and independent? How does this week change your mind or not? There's no problem with being an individual, it's just an interesting flavor to add to your life this week. Like, oh, actually I felt a lot more social, and this thing happened for me and I'm really grateful, or this put me in a situation I didn't want to be in, like people singing songs in a crowd together. You're just like, that was not for me. Yeah. Do you find yourself people pleasing through life, or do you find yourself alone most of your life? Note how it makes you feel when your effort isn't acknowledged and you feel for granted. Can you find another way to express your perspective rather than going straight to bitterness and resentment? That one was a key one for me, the one that I explained, like, hey, like, there's always more language than you think around the situation. Not everyone is looking to deceive you. And you can always attempt, until you're sure it's not going to work and you don't want to waste your time. So take time to recognize and reward those who are really there for you through the thick and thin. We have trouble communicating with each other. We have trouble getting back to each other. I understand the telephone and social media and technology. It makes it really difficult for us to not feel the pressure of it all. So, but here's a reminder. Just take the time this week. You never know what'll happen to your friends and family, people that care about you, the people that have been there for you. Just say, hey, I appreciate you. That's all it takes. But yeah, I hope I answered and fulfilled this entire gate. But if you have any questions, concerns, feedback, please shoot it my way, and I will see you next week.